Hey, I'm Amar.
And I'm Matthew.
And this is Our Side of the Coin. Hey, welcome back to another week on Our Side of the Coin. Stop laughing, you guys. So, this week we brought in Colin. I hope he doesn't mind being identified.
You ruined my wishes.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about technology in schools and to what extent should technology be allowed in schools? Like, how should we use it? Just another general discussion, not so much a debate, I hope.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll find out. I'm pretty sure we'll make it into a debate.
So, Colin, what do you think about technology in school?
I think that technology is a good thing to have in schools, but it needs to be, the use of technology needs to be limited, because I've been in many situations where schools try to overuse technology to the point where it's useless, or not necessarily useless, but it's just making it harder to actually
iPads.
I agree. Sorry?
Yeah. Anyway, Matthew, what's
okay,
your
so,
stance on
I mean,
it? Because I know you're different.
I will agree with Colin.
You guys always just talk over each other?
No, that was really random.
I'll agree with Colin and disagree with Colin. Sometimes the schools overuse technology, and like there's a lot of like startup software companies that make like educational stuff that doesn't have any use at all. But I'll also say if you're gonna have technology, like the thing that always ends up happening is the school always tries to like limit technology, and I always feel like they limit it like too much, and it always gets in the way of things. So what I'm gonna say is like schools should be able to commit to using technology or not using technology. I don't think they should like go half and half, if that makes any sense.
Okay, yeah, I think what me and Colin are trying to approach is more of a because one of the big issues, let's just start bringing up the issues with having too much technology in the classroom. First issue is distractions, and distractions are a major thing, especially not just for the people who are distracting themselves. That's a choice they have, but for people around them who are getting distracted by the technology. Like a lot of times it's common, rubbernecking. Somebody's playing, I don't know, what's the game you play, Colin? Leap Day.
Yeah.
Somebody's playing Leap Day, and before you know it, you have three guys around them trying to crane their necks and watch instead of whatever bio lecture they're supposed to be listening to.
Hey, I only play that in econ.
I mean, but I would also say that happens outside of technology. I wouldn't say that's a problem unique to technology, but it is true that technology can be very distracting, and I think that should be a thing that schools should heavily consider in the way they're using technology, because like.
So you're saying all in or all out?
More of a commitment than like a lot of schools tend to have, because like I'll just bring up Wi-Fi, right? Because the thing is, if you haven't, just fair warning, I might go on a little bit of a rant like in this podcast, so be on the way on that. But like
literally,
our school Wi-Fi is officially like it calls itself a one-to-one school. So every student either brings their own device or is given a device, and like. A vast majority of all the stuff we do in school is online.
Oh yeah.
And then because so much of our time is being used on technology, they have to try to control the technology, and then here comes all of these like firewall stuff, and everything gets blocked, and then like people are okay. The real problem that I have is you always need to use technology for schools, but the administration and the teachers are also really fast to punish you for using technology in the same setting. So like there's a whole lot of conflicts that go on, and I really I really think it detracts from the whole educational experience.
I feel like the punishment part's more different at our school, because our school understands.
Yeah, man, look, there's distractions happening right now.
But like one other thing I'd like to, because I do think yours is a fair point. What?
They do block their own website sometimes.
Yeah, they do. That is the thing. You
can just say that.
Our school has blocked their own website, and other website that we use to turn in homework and check our grades. It's just horrendously stupid.
Yeah, sometimes there's too much, and I think especially so for example, math, we take pictures of our homework and then submit it online, whereas that's maybe inconvenient for somebody like Matthew who only has a laptop and not a smartphone.
Yeah, right? And only has a 2005 flip phone.
Yeah, exactly. It's not exactly ideal to take pictures.
But yeah, I see that of less of a disadvantage, but I would also say it's a disadvantage. Yeah, but luckily, like at Wi-Fi, we have good enough resources to be able to like give everyone at least a device, if not a smartphone.
Yeah, that's the initiative with the Chromebook.
There is one thing I would like to bring up, because this never happened at our school, because while we do have Chromebooks at our school, and the middle school attached to us that I went to, which sucked.
Why not? Yes.
Yeah. They had a program
that might be cut.
Huh?
That might be cut.
Okay, whatever. They had a program where they gave all the students like tablets, which started out from like Samsung tablets to iPads. And at first it was a good thing because we were actually able to do things besides just on pen and paper from textbooks and everything, which was nice because we could like use interactive websites or like some sort of educational game.
Yeah, simulations like we do in science is a lot, which is really convenient.
Yeah, but the problem is they eventually it became more like a thing where they could just do less planning and do more on the technology and not have to actually do things. Like in like 7 out of 8 of my classes, and this 8th one that we didn't do anything with our iPads in was in gym, that they would always just do something. Like even in art, we had about 3 units worth of using our tablets to make a stop motion animation.
That's a thing that's becoming more and more common. It's just like you walk into the class and then teacher's like, okay, go to this website and fill out this activity, and then like that's the whole class. Or you walk in and it's like, oh hey, let's watch this video.
That's also an
that's the
equivalent
to the worksheets
of a lazy teacher as well, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's true.
Teachers have, but that, I mean, previously we had worksheets that just did that instead for us, so it wasn't really going to the website. That just saves in paper.
Yeah. It happens a lot more with technology though, because
it's a lot more convenient.
It's a lot more convenient. Yeah.
It's also the main problem that I find with technology at our school is that they're expecting us to not act like teenagers and be who we are. Like they're expecting us to like correctly use something that they should know that we're gonna abuse and like play games on and like not all the time.
The stereotype is all teenagers are irresponsible.
Okay, tell me there hasn't been one class where you've just hasn't gone to cool math games.
Tell me that you weren't on your laptop the whole time guessing Pokemon in TOK.
That was not me. I'm gonna bleep his name out.
Yeah,
I was actually working on my worksheet.
Either way,
your worksheet, which Mr. Fox asked us to do
like,
online, by the way.
Yes. Either way, though, my point is that there's still like a lot of expectations that they have. So like they're expecting us to not go on these websites or like just do these things when we obviously would do them because we're going to test the boundaries.
I would agree with that. I feel like a lot of the times the schools want like their cake and they want their cake in and eat it too. They want all the positives of technology without having all of it. Shut up. It's like some phrase. I'm pretty sure I butchered.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That's the phrase. They want to like be able to have all the advantages of technology without addressing any of the downsides and just saying just don't, which is not a very good solution.
So wait, are you agreeing that we need to limit technology then?
No, I'm agreeing that
he's saying that we should have technology, but they're just not addressing any of the issues that come with using technology in order for us to actually properly use it.
They're blocking stuff. I don't know. Now we can talk about how effective of a solution that is, but they are doing something. Do
you want to?
We can talk about it. Is blocking stuff effective?
I don't.
Blocking stuff I would find very ineffective because we have a thing called VPNs.
Okay,
also block the VPNs.
It's great. Okay, no. Let's talk about this because this is hilarious. There's like it's probably happening in other schools, but why had this technological arms race that's been going on ever since we came here? Alright, so when we came to like school,
we haven't thought of the hammer yet though.
Were there any? Did they even block websites?
No.
Yeah.
The only websites that were blocked were illicit content.
That's
it.
Really bad stuff. But like they wouldn't. There was barely any firewall in 9th grade, and then I think in 10th grade
they started introducing firewalls and stuff. Yeah. There was a major one in the middle of 10th grade against games.
Like a lot of social media platforms they blocked in 10th grade.
Yeah. And they also
Instagram went down.
Instagram went down 10th grade. Reddit went down. Just a few.
Facebook was already blocked. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And they also blocked like anything that had anything to do with games at all. And then
they didn't block cool math games.
Okay, well, yeah, because it has math also.
Cool math games is the exception to all rules. All right, we can establish that right here, right now.
I mean, it's great because cool math doesn't even have any math anymore. but that's besides the point. So then the students started. I mean, because they're not going to let like some simple firewall stop them. So I mean, also VPNs are like.
So welcome to the world of VPN, guys.
Yeah. So everyone just connects to another server somewhere else, and now the firewall doesn't work anymore.
Russia.
So then the school sees this, and then they're like, the school sees this, and then they hire like some guy from somewhere to like come in and like install software to like monitor the computers and block the VPNs, and it's just it's really funny.
Reconfigure them and then it works again.
Yes, we start entering different ports. More and more students learn more about technology inadvertently.
And I think that like that.
I think there's also a thing called incognito mode that helps a lot.
I don't know if that helps because
it helps in some aspects, but not a lot of
viewers. Why don't you test it for us?
Okay.
You said viewers, not audience.
Slight difference.
Same thing.
Okay, so technically
listeners,
our audience are listeners, but we also have a live audience, which you can get tickets to if you know my name. Wait, you do know my name. If you know me in person, then you can get tickets.
Pretty sure half the people who listen to this are know you in
That's
person.
true. Half of the 4 people listening to this are Mar's cousins, and then the rest
I don't
are
really think- I think she
the rest
just
are
checked it out in
Moaz.
the first minute.
The rest are Moaz.
Yes.
Hey.
And Soof listens to it, I think, occasionally. I'm not sure how.
I listen to like half of it, but then I find a better video.
We sure got distracted.
All
You
right,
guys want to come back?
back to the point.
Yeah.
So we were talking about VPNs.
Yeah,
And,
and like
the
how
arms race between
Yeah.
staff and students.
I really think that goes to show about like how like teachers, I mean schools should be really like consider all the advantages and all the disadvantages when like trying to introduce technology as like technology is the base of the curriculum,
Yeah.
like as it stands. And if there's so much of like the curriculum is so much of learning is being caught up in this whole like cat and mouse sort of thing and like this behavior thing, I really think it's
worked
a
against
big
itself.
problem.
Yeah,
it's really
it ends up working against itself because more time is spent trying to rework the problems created by avoiding whatever's being blocked, etc.
we're trying to do do things so that we can actually learn properly. Like they block websites that help us, even though they somehow haven't blocked Wikipedia yet. Please don't. But like
Oh, man.
there's still like so many things that
They
they
had
have.
Wikipedia blocked.
No, I don't think so. I'm saying
But
please
if
don't.
they ever do for not
Oof.
being a credible source.
That's
Why
gonna
would
be a
they?
problem. Either way,
I
though.
mean, considering the fact that they blocked their own website a few times,
Fair
I
enough.
would find it hard to believe that they blocked Wikipedia.
They haven't though.
Not yet.
Not
Not yet.
But like still,
Yeah.
but like there's just like so many examples of them like just blocking useful things that could genuinely help
Right.
us.
So I actually have an example of this.
Let
I'll
him
just bring it up.
finish.
It's not-
Can I finish?
No.
But
the-
think about
the
the fact
status
about
quo
the
in this
science
room is that-
simulation in science class that we needed for fermentation.
The status quo in this room is that I interrupt everybody. Anyway, keep going.
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna fix that status quo.
So do I. I'm just an audience member. Hi guys.
Anyway, yeah, continue,
But either
sorry.
way, though, it's just like they continuously block the things that we feel like we need to be able to use in order to be successful. And then we try and spend our time instead of like actually finding other ways to be successful. We find ways to use these original tactics, which is waste times and
Yeah.
a waste of school's money where they could use it for better things like fixing the internet
Right,
rather
and
than
we-
spending on blocking the internet.
We were just talking about that, how a lot of the school tends to reallocate a lot of its funds towards
Yeah.
things may be useless,
Like-
and I think hiring certain staff to block
And
these,
buying whiteboard tape.
anyway. But yeah, that's
About
separate.
whiteboard, yeah, separate things.
But but like yeah, there's just a waste of resources that could have gone to way better places.
I think there's also another aspect of technology in schools is that it's pretty difficult, like on the technical side, to be able to like, because there's a whole lot of systems that need to work, at least currently. Like there's, first of all, you need to have good infrastructure, good Wi-Fi, which anyone at the school can talk to you at length about. But and then you also need to, teachers need to be able to use it well. Students need to be able to use it well.
There are certain grad assistants here that don't even know how to plug in a computer.
There are certain
Yeah.
grad assistants that don't know how to turn off their volume during a test.
Yeah, so yeah, because I mean, we're living in 2019. Technology's not new. Schools have been like gradually making this shift for a long time, so it's not as hard to learn as it was in like 2000. But still, it is something to be noted.
All right, everybody say bye, Sue. Bye, Sue.
Bye everybody.
Matthew refuses to say
I
bye.
tend to
Sue.
be back soon as an actual person on this show.
Wait, so you're not an actual person right now?
No, I'm just an audience member.
He's just like a
That doesn't
ghost.
exist.
He's a ghost.
Bye guys.
He haunts this room.
All right, bye, Sue. Anyway, we were talking about the reallocation of resources,
Yeah.
and then that went to.
And- Well, I was talking about.
Something.
I was talking about how like introducing technology in schools is a big feat technically. Like it takes a lot.
Yeah,
of
because it
work.
takes a lot of investment to get it up and
Yeah.
going and to begin with. All right, so I don't think we really addressed that question from earlier, though. Is it
Nope.
effective to
We've
block
been-
websites? Because we kept
No.
skedaddling around it.
It's ineffective because students are generally more technologically educated than the teachers and the staff at our school, unless they hire specific people. I would say, at least at our school, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So like we typically can find a way around those things, and it's just a whole waste of time.
But what about content that may be illegal
Okay,
for
well, I mean,
underage viewers, etc.?
okay, yeah. So like illicit content and just things that generally you shouldn't be watching or like reading about or just doing
Well,
anything with in school.
That's the issue, right? Who decides what you should and shouldn't be doing in school? That's the issue.
Okay, I'm
of
pretty
blocking.
sure there are certain videos that you shouldn't be watching
Right.
in school.
Well, okay.
Right,
I mean,
but-
obviously, okay. There's a list
the
of
school
there's a
has a
list
ter-
there's a list of things that are illegal. I think it's safe to just like remove those from the argument because there's like There's not very. It's pretty
They're
black
very,
and white.
Yeah, they're very obvious things
Yeah.
that we know you can't.
Well,
but I think
I
it's
don't
more
think it's so
interesting-
black and white because the school has gone out as far as to say that the school should block games, the school should block certain
Not because
websites,
they're
social
illegal.
media. No. So are we
Yeah.
talking about just legal?
I'm
and
no.
illegal?
What I wanted to do was remove the legal discussion. Talk about things that the school policy,
Yeah.
which is what you want to talk
This
about.
is what I was going
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So,
just clarifying.
School policy doesn't really dictate that we can't, besides obviously illegal things, but it doesn't dictate that we can't really look up anything, play games during class. Even on our stupid agreement to what was
Not
it?
even use our data
Yeah.
or personal networks while in
Yeah.
school.
Yeah,
Which we
and
all
also
definitely still
school
do.
has the right to check your laptop and emails and crap
Yeah.
at any time they want.
But still though, even with all that stuff, there's not really anything that actually as far as I can remember, that specifically says you can't go to these websites or play these games during school.
I think they worded it. I don't remember
I mean,
on there,
let's
but they
say-
worded it in a way that you're not supposed to go to websites or whatever that the school has deemed as something. I remember they had some.
But the
weird-
problem is they also don't tell us what we can't do. They just block it and expect us to know. There is a very much lack of communication within our school between the student body and the staff and administration,
for technology purposes.
especially for technology purposes. Not to mention just academics in general.
I'd agree with that. But we still really haven't.
We've been dancing around the main question.
I mean, no, because we don't really have a main question. But
Main question is,
should they try? Should they actively be for games in particular, or maybe other things they deem distracting? Should they be trying to use
Right,
various
because
methods to block
ideally the
those,
school,
or
we were talking
not let
about
those
this
happen?
earlier, the school ideally wants to limit distractions because distractions don't only stop one person, they stop another. I think it's fair to say that most of us will get distracted while playing a game,
that's
correct?
fairly obvious.
well,
that we all
the
will
game
be.
is a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the
So-
point is though, that I'm trying to make is that it really doesn't matter if they block it or not. We're still gonna find a way to play a game. As soon as you're gonna play it, no matter what. Or now we're just gonna find new distractions.
Cough, cough.
Okay,
It's
I
in
can see.
trouble.
It's mostly pointless to block things like games.
Yeah,
because-
most of the time I would argue that that's not true, but in the case of technology,
Yeah.
you're not gonna beat technology.
No.
Technology always wins.
Yeah.
So in that case, maybe we could that's one reason where I think that school should either commit to using technology and have to recognize the disadvantages and somehow
And
work around them,
effectively-
or just not make technology so integral
Yeah.
to the school.
Yeah, because we're a one-to-one school. Like you were
Yeah.
saying, we're a one-to-one school, but everything tends to get blocked really fast.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring it out a little bit broader. What about in general schools that aren't so technology integrated?
I mean, a lot of other schools that aren't technology integrated, at least that I've seen, a lot of them just straight up block technology as a whole. In freshman year, when I went to a forensics tournament at a different high school, they had data blockers. So even if you wanted to use your phone,
Ipsy High has data blockers.
yeah, they also have
Yeah.
brick that's 2 levels and they're in a basement. So,
But
but still they have data blockers and they practically prevent you from using technology as a whole. So it's for a lot of schools, it's either they have it or they block it.
and if they ever need it, then they'll have school owned
Yeah.
and managed.
So is that
devices
better?
people
Do
just-
you think one-to-one is better or school provided computers are better?
I would
Honestly,
say school provided.
I
I would
would
say
agree
because
with
the
Paul.
school provided because the school provided laptops. You basically have it for the year and then you return it at the end. You return it at the end of the year. Now at that point, they can also
Well, the way I remember school issued laptops
Well-
coming was that it would be in class schools, kind of like how YHI used to do it. Like if you don't bring your own device, they roll in cards
Okay.
for class.
So are we
and you're
talking about,
responsible for technology.
we
at
use
your
it for specific situations,
Yeah.
or the school gives us laptops.
That's
for the
no,
year?
yeah. What I would say is I would even go more extreme than school issued Chromebooks, and it would be computers that would stay in a room
Like
that
a
you were
computer
in.
lab.
Yeah,
Just a computer
yeah,
lab,
like a computer lab. Yeah, you would go when you needed to, and then you would leave, and you would not have the technology more when it was not required by.
I would agree that would actually, to an extent, would be a better option than
Yeah.
I
letting
feel
students
like-
have
well,
their own laptops.
Let's look at this. I think this also depends a lot on the person themselves and how they
Yes.
manage their own technology. But I found it because I'd like to think I'm generally more productive on my laptop than not. And what I found is very conveniently is that when all my documents are where I left them on my computer, if I can use the programs that I've downloaded, like most Chromebooks won't have Microsoft Word on it. I love to use Microsoft Word instead of Google Docs, right? So I find it very convenient to use my own device. Do you know what I'm saying?
I understand that, but like I do agree that it is nice to have your own device and that there are definitely advantages to it. But if we're talking about like the school is just trying to make it to get rid of distractions so it can be as close to like I guess distraction free so that we're not like wasting time playing games, like just having the cards, the Chrome Lab or like the not Chrome Labs, computer labs are just an effective way to make it to where we can still use technology, but not have it to where it's like.
Well, the other thing is we still have phones.
I think it's also important to bring up why it would be advantageous to use technology in the first place. Because if your only goal was to reduce distractions, then you would just outright ban computers, ban phones. You'd have a phone check at the front door. But schools use technology, and I think it's important to like identify why. Like, so what are the advantages?
There's a much more vast wealth of information on the internet that we can have immediate depending on the internet speeds, immediate access to, and and it just allows you to have a great you can find information easier. Like if you don't have like computers, then you have to either go to your library and find a book about it, or just like wait until you can go home and then do something with it. But like with computers, there's just much more information and ease of accessing knowledge.
Yeah, and as we talked about earlier, there are certain facilities online, like simulations for science classes, and especially considering a lot of our, especially in the IB program, a lot of our stuff is more research-based, especially personal research-based, IAs, EEs, I could list acronyms for days, right? And the internet is there, and technology is there, so that we don't have to, I don't know,
so like
run to the library.
Running like 20 different trials on iodine clocks to fill out like one paper, we can go to a simulation on the internet and just do that without having to waste a mass amount of resources on some useless paper.
And it's not really a thing you see here, but another advantage is you can make it a lot more personalized and a lot more on like an individual basis, because like one of the main disadvantages of the public school system, or just schools like in a whole, is that you have to, like all the kids in a classroom have to go at one pace because there's only one class. So some people are inevitably going to be left behind, and some people are going to be like too far ahead for the class. And technology in some sense can address that by
I think a drawback on that though is because I've taken like I'll draw on some personal experience. When I was in middle school, right, I got a little bit ahead in math, and so I went to the high school for a couple of courses in the morning, but during we had trimesters, right, I would have like one trimester free from the high school, but they're like, oh, you need to complete a year of math in order to pass whatever 7th, 8th grade, and so they gave me like online trig or like online AP stats and whatever. And I think the problem with that is that I guess this is more not an issue with technology itself, but more an issue with online schooling. It's not very effective.
It's effective for things like Khan Academy when you need that random like piece of information for how to do a math
it's good for like the one skill here, but it's not good for like, whereas a general math class you will learn a subset and a set of skills that can be applied to a way larger variety. You need a like actual teacher.
Yeah. I mean, but the purpose of
right, but I get what you're saying. Is to keep up with, like, to keep them engaged.
No. What I was gonna say is the purpose of online schools, like, often is an alternative for when, like, in-house schooling or like brick and mortar schooling, I think it's called, is not like an option possible. Like, if transportation problems or something like that, then online schools like is an alternative, and I think that can apply to like technology as a whole. Like, I did say before, like, there's some difficulties when trying to use technology, but there's also a lot of things that make technology like a lot more easier to use for more people.
Yeah. So I guess I was about to say something. Did you have something?
I was gonna actually ask a question.
Okay.
So do you guys think it's actually possible for, at least within our school, where we do have a lot more technology than most other schools, like, do you guys think that it is possible for us to actually have that happy medium between using technology to where it's beneficial, but also using like paper resources and actual things to where that's also beneficial?
I think it needs to be the problem is, I don't think that the problem is realized by many of the staff. So many of the classes, I know this is more personal preference, but I like to take some paper notes sometimes or have a worksheet rather than stare at some slides and do whatever, right? Because writing also helps you out, remember stuff a lot better than typing when their study's been done on that. But as for that balance, I think there's some policies that need to be changed before anything happens. Like, even any step towards worse or towards better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with Amar. We're certainly not at that balance yet, but I think that it is achievable if you just like left it up to the student whether like to use technology or whether to use paper, and whether like both options were as easy to use like as each other, because like oftentimes like teacher preference or like the way things are run, sometimes you have to use technology, sometimes you can't use technology,
Right.
and if I don't see it being that hard to make it so that both are always an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something else I was going to mention was about the one-to-one devices. So I think there's also a lot of student accountability within this, and I think going off of what Matthew was saying a little bit, the student body should be sort of responsible for their own use of like technology as well. Stuff shouldn't be blocked as much because students know what their priorities are. Students know whether they want to be successful or not, and will take the facilities and resources.
If a student wants,
like if a student does not want to learn, even if you take their technology away, they will talk to somebody, they will start doodling, they will not learn, right?
they're just preventing the inevitable from happening again. They're just slowing down what's actually going to happen. If a student wants to learn, then they'll use the technology accordingly. But if they don't want to learn, they're just going to do something else.
And there's also that, it's called Pandora's box, I think. The example, I think you explained this to me in an earlier podcast, where Pandora's box is like this box that has all the evils in the world in it, and it's like, don't ever open this box, and she opens it because she's told not to open it. But I guess like when people are prevented, because I'm pretty sure games weren't super relevant throughout Y-High until they were like blocked, where people threw are throwing hissy fits all around. Now that it's blocked specifically, people will go out of their way to try to play games.
That's okay. So I think this is the right term. I think, but there's probably like a better term. But the term I would say is like the Streisand effect. So there's this person, her last name is Streisand, who like a picture of her house got like on the internet, and she didn't like that. But nobody cared until she made a deal about it, and then it suddenly became a big thing. So
yes, exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of just old tweets from celebrities. They don't. Nothing matters until someone gets offended by them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say before is I think it's interesting how, like, the statement of how students should have like some sort of like responsibility on themselves, and also the statement that students don't have the responsibility to do that, have both been said at the space. I think it's interesting.
I think the school is trying to make it to where the student doesn't have responsibility. At least for our school, they're trying to make it to where they have all the control
of the area, and you're not able to make the right decisions because you don't have the decision.
Which even then in itself is just making more problems. Cause
but then by doing that, you're restricting one of the main advantages of technology, that technology can work on an individual level, and students can learn the way they want to. Like, that's one of the main the reason we use technology. But you're also sacrificing like the whole sort of like distraction
thing. And I guess it boils down at the end of the day sometimes to what the students want.
Yeah.
But staff and administration definitely needs to like lay off a little bit on the restrictiveness on technology. Like we said, they either need to go way more. I'm gonna agree with Matthew on this. We either need to go way more in. Right, and give more responsibility to the students, or we need to pull all the way out and go back to like computer carts, where technology is still available but not like super readily available.
Yeah.
All right. Any last points? We'll just wrap it up.
I think that's about it.
All right. Thank you for coming, Colin. Remember that we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Subscribe, like, comment, give us some more ideas. Let us know if you want to be on the show. I'm done. Bye.